Slight cold as well, so I understand not feeling well. And, you know, obviously Joe Biden comes in with certain deficits. He has a stutter. You know, it is more difficult for him to communicate for that reason. So there's a lot to mitigate the way that he speaks, and you can understand it, and we've observed him for a long time.
President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems.
Oh boy. Of course, I'm not going to go through the whole video, but I'm just going to cherry pick some of the key parts I thought that were hilarious and concerning. He said a bunch of gibberish. He really didn't say anything. And that's going to be the theme of this whole debate, not just from Joe Biden, but from Donald Trump as well. They are not answering the questions the way that people want to hear them to be answered. And before I continue, I want to say once again, stay your ass at home. Don't go vote. I'm finna tell you why. By the end of this video, you will know why you should stay your ass at home and don't vote for these clowns. This is stupid. This is a distraction. But let's keep on going to the next point.
That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
Now, when it comes to abortion, my opinion is it's on a it's on a case by case basis. I'm not a female. I don't have the ability to reproduce a child, to bear a child. I can't birth children. So I think those decisions should be made on a case by case basis. As for the answers to the question, the Roe v. Wade, like I said, I really don't care about the abortion part of it because it really doesn't affect me per se. If we're gonna be real, once again, don't go out here and vote for these clowns, man. Please don't. If you watch it, by the end of this video, you still have any inkling to still want to go down there and vote in November, it says a lot about your character. Let's keep it going.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. There are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, We had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
Now, if you look at my comment section of my TikTok video, I'm going to put shots up on the screen. And people are saying that I was doing a disservice by making videos encouraging y'all to stay y'all ass at home and don't vote. Right? These are the comments. And I want to just say this before I continue with this analysis. If you walk away from this at the end of this video, or after watching the presidential debate that took place last night, if you walk away from this, not even with the same belief in our system, or more belief and not less belief in our system, it says a lot about your personality. Because you tell us not to vote, then who? If not, who? This is the whole point of this video. Who? They are making a mockery of themselves. They are both on the same team. This whole thing is scripted and contrived. This is a blatant WWE promo. And what we're seeing right now in real time is a heel turn for Donald Trump and a heel turn for Joe Biden and a face turn for Donald Trump right before our very eyes. Right before our very eyes. You can't even understand what Joe Biden is saying. Like, this is embarrassing. This is not this. It'd be one thing if Joe Biden, shoes on the other foot, right? If Joe Biden was not president, but Trump was the president, right? And Joe Biden he was president one time already. He tried to get back in, right? The roles reversed. He came out with this performance. We'd be like, man, we can't vote for this man to go into office. But the fact that he is the acting president as of now, showing this kind of behavior, how can anybody have any kind of faith in a Democratic Party after this debate? It is laughable. It is laughable. Let's just keep it going.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world, and it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days.
He basically deflects and rambles and goes on like this for the rest of his time about the answer. He did not in any way, shape, or form address a very specific question about immigration, what he's going to do about it, and how he's going to do it. And he failed to do that. Instead, he's answering the previous question that was being discussed before the current question he's supposed to be answering. He does that. That is the theme throughout the whole debate for Donald Trump. And once again, y'all want to vote for this man. Why are y'all? Just stay at home. Stay at home. Let's go to the next clip.
Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, a president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. If you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
This has turned into a complete joke, if it wasn't already a joke. Once again, Donald Trump deflects, whatever you want to call it, deflection. It has nothing to do with the question. And then Joe Biden, halfway alive, with a cold, is saying a bunch of gibberish that you really gotta listen to, like headphones on or close to your phone, indoor television or radio, your listening device, to hear and understand what he's trying to say. And if you listen close enough, by any chance you actually hear what he's saying, it's bull, it's BS. But y'all want to vote. Oh, TyBeTroLLing, you shouldn't tell people not to vote. So what should we do? Huh? What should we do with this? Next clip. This is ridiculous.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up to the Capitol Hill, number one. I sat in that dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours. 3 hours watching, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. He went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, and he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Okay, the infamous January 6th. Now, I will give Donald Trump credit this. He did kind of insinuate that he contacted, the mayor of Washington, D.C. or whatnot, whatever he said, and told her he would provide the troops or something he said. Y'all know the background about that, anyways. So he kind of explained himself on that. But Joe Biden, this is what I'm trying to say right here. Look, talking to my people right now. I'm talking to my black people right now. If you don't stay your ass at home, if you don't stay your black ass at home, because this is embarrassing. If you hate Donald Trump, go ahead, do as you may. If it's gonna kill you to vote for Donald Trump instead of Joe Biden, I understand. But you're not gonna sit here and try to tell me that this guy is a better alternative. He is half dead on stage right now. The man can't even. But TyBeTroLLing, don't make a video. You gotta vote. Our voice gotta be heard. By whom exactly? Let's go to the next clip.
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did not.
Well, you want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. The crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about?
Ladies and gentlemen, these are your presidential candidates. This is just... Okay, so in the interest of being unbiased, in the interest of being unbiased and fair, what Joe Biden was pointing out about him molesting a woman and having sex with a porn star, yeah, those things are nefarious, they're bad. But isn't Joe Biden the one that came out with the 1994 crime bill, which in comparison to having sex with a porn star, or I'm not trying to minimize groping in public, which is a horrible crime, but we're talking about hundreds of thousands of black families being broken up solely because of the 1994 crime bill that you have captained. It was your bill. It's literally the Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill. And he's such a bad person because he had sex with a porn star? Man, look. Let's go to the next clip.
President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're providing housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market.
Black Democrats. This is the single most important question and or topic of this whole debate. Hands down, if you're a black person, whether you're voting for Trump or Biden, this right here was the most single important question and or topic of this whole debate about the state of black America. And not only did he fumble the question, not only did he not deflect on the question, he didn't even touch on any of the subjects. He wasn't confident. He was reading answers. He couldn't form a proper... So what now? Huh? What now? What now, black man and or woman in America? The single most important question that everybody was looking for. Everybody was looking for the answer to this question. And this is what you got. I would love to see in the comment section how y'all can weasel y'all way out of this. But no, TyBeTroLL, you can't make a video saying that people shouldn't vote. Next clip.
They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
Last and certainly least, let's talk about the most egregious, in my opinion, the most egregious, distasteful, dumbest part of this whole debate. Let's roll a clip and I'll come back with my final commentary.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one, a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards.
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's it. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest rival. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, you know how many...
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
Let's not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to turn.
Let's not act like children.
Okay. Not only will hundreds of millions of American people will be able to see this debate on YouTube or wherever you're going to see it at. The most watched debate, let's just be real, in the history of our debates, hands down. And these two presidential candidates, who has literally the whole world, because I'm pretty sure if they didn't watch it live, there will be other countries watching and dissecting this at the same time. You got the eyes and the attention of the American public like never before. This is a very, very, very important debate when it comes to democracy in the 2024 presidential selection. And y'all want to waste our time bickering like kids, going back and forth about your golf game and your drive game and your handicap. What the hell is going on? And y'all keep asking me why I make these videos telling y'all don't vote, because they clearly don't even care about y'all. They can talk about this stuff off camera. Hello? We're in a debate. They're talking about their golf game in a debate about the presidency of the United States and issues that we want to hear about. And you asking me why I make a video telling y'all don't go vote. You are a dumbass if you go to the ballot and vote. I'm just sorry. Slavery is a choice.
It hurt me to wake up and see my beautiful black people suffer, victimized by the oppressive, harsh realities of the hood. I guess even though we were free, we were still slaves in the mind.
Message!